What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica. Girl, we are down. We are down here. We doing the old school type of vibe, honey. We down here, girl, on our way to the park to see what is going on. Don't tell me that is the park closed. Oh, is the park closed? Let's see what she's doing. Is this a girl? She's opening the park gates. We here, honey. Whatever. So I'm the first one in the park because the park was closed. The gates were closed. They don't ever close the gates on these parks, so something must be happening to where they're closing the actual gate to come inside the parking lot of the park. So I don't know. Um so I'm down here, girl. We're down here, girl, and we don't have nothing to talk about. We not about to get to the point of nothing. We just down here. And I just slapped this thing on my head. And let me tell you the reason why we down here is because my light ring, let me make sure everything. We just wanted to get a little warm in here first, and then we're gonna turn the cabin heater off. We're just going to be down here for a little while. But what happened over the weekend is my light ring had a short in it. And I was so glad that because I put something on the wall and I just wanted to see what it looked like. So I was like, let me see what it looks like when I'm going to do my video on Monday. And I went to turn the light ring on. And it was like bloop and it went out. And I was like, oh shit. And then I saw on the little thing that the power, there was no power. There was no power, and it was like blinking like a little, it was a little power and then would like blink. So I was like, oh, there's a short in this. So that was Saturday. So I went on Amazon and I ordered a light ring to be, and it said delivered by tomorrow, but then it switched to delivered by today. So I really thought I was going to get a delivered by tomorrow, but no, that was not it. So we down here. So I set up. So I was like in the bathroom because I have really bright lights in the bathroom. So I was in the bathroom and I had put a little backdrop up and everything. But then I was like, I don't know. I felt like I was like too close to the camera. It was like I was like too close to the camera. That was like too much. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna go downstairs. And luckily I started early enough to like get all my shit together. Okay, the heater. Get all my shit together. I already had my coffee. I brought this book down here. The Language of Fanaticism, Cultish. I've been reading it and it's really good. There was a part in here that reminded me of well, it actually speaks to what's going on right now in political theater. But um I I made some note. I've been like making notes. They're talking about different cults and the way that the leaders of the cult speak and the words that they use and different type of like the way that they construct their words, there's different meanings, different techniques, names for the techniques that cult leaders use when they are speaking. They talked about the last recording of Jim Jones and the way that he was speaking, even in that, the word choice that he uses. They talked about how they repeat things. I thought about Umar Johnson and how, when he repeats things 3 times, what he's doing in an effort to try to get people to remember his little sayings and things like that, because that's what he wants to stick. So he says it 3 times so that you can remember it. um but then it's really interesting, but one thing that stood out to me um was this section right here, and you let me know what you think of, and then I'll let you know what I wrote right here. um let's see. All right, let's okay, let's see. It says this phenomenon of listeners mistaking say it like it is honesty, which of course isn't actual honesty, just a lack of filter, for the refreshing voice of anti establishment dissent might feel familiar to anyone who's lived through the reign of a problematic populace. Italy's Silvio Berlusconi, Slovakia's Vladimir Maciar, Donald Trump. It would be irresponsible, I think, not to mention the oratorical similarities between Donald Trump and Jim Jones, who shared the same love of coining zingy, incendiary nicknames for their opponents. Quote, fake news and quote, crooked Hillary were Trump's analogs to Jones's hidden rulers and sky god. Even when their statements didn't contain any rational substance, the catchy phrases and zealous deliveries were enough to win over an audience. It's riveting to watch someone on a podium speak from a place so animalistic that most of us don't let ourselves behave that way, even with our closest friends. As Atlantic staff writer George Packer wrote in 2019, the strength of Trump's populist language lies in its openness. It requires no expert knowledge. It's the way people talk when their inhibitors are off. Over time, the memorable nicknames and insidery terminology acquire a strong emotional charge. When a word or phrase takes on such baggage that its mere mention can spark fear, grief, dread, jubilation, reverence, anything, a leader can exploit it to steer followers' behavior. This lingo is what some psychologists call loaded language. This is the paragraph that I wanted you to listen to. Over time, the memorable nicknames and insidery terminology acquire a strong emotional charge. When a word or phrase takes on such baggage that its mere mention can spark fear, grief, dread, jubilation, reverence, anything, a leader can exploit it to steer followers' behavior. This lingo is what some psychologists call coded language. And I wrote right here in parentheses the word black. Yep, I thought about it. I said, this is what, when I hear people who have a large following and the majority of their followers, a lot of their followers are especially melanated women, there is a charge to use the word black in front of men or black in front of women. And that is to ignite an emotional reaction out of you. Because every time you hear the word black woman, black man, there's something that lights up in you, no matter how small or how large the light is, but there's a light that comes on when you hear that word. And some people, like Umar Johnson, where his only basis of everything is race, 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 he says the word black over and over again. There's another person that I used to watch who I now listen to them, and now when I listen to them, I'm listening to how many times they say the word black in order to get you on a hook and to hook you in. Once again, now you are caught up in everything, whatever. If it's reverence, if it's an emotional trigger, and it's done intentionally, and it's done intentionally. I'll read it again. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna turn my car off now because it's all warm and toasty in here now. Hold on, let me see. Oh, here it is. Over time, the memorable nicknames and insidery terminology acquire a strong emotional charge. When a word or phrase takes on such baggage, The word black to me has so much baggage. When some, sometimes you'll hear me say getting caught in the vortex of race. That's what I mean. I mean, now that one person says the word black, and now you are emotionally charged, whether it's black love, right? Because now you're emotionally charged. For some people, that light that comes on is struggle. Some people, they hear black, there's perpetual victimhood. I'm going to keep myself in a perpetual state of victimhood so that the whole system can work, right? The word black, to re-victimize, to make you feel, or to even trigger you to have an emotional reaction. They wouldn't have done that, or they would have done that if it was a black woman. And then all of a sudden you're like, what did they say? You understand what I'm saying? So just something to think about. That's something that I thought about. I literally wrote black in parentheses, not parentheses, in quotations, right here. Yeah. So now I'm on part 3. Even you can learn to speak in tongues. Yeah, it's very interesting. She talked about Jim Jones, and this is something that I underline. Letting people tell us only what we want to hear is something we all do. It's classic confirmation bias, an ingrained human reasoning flaw defined by the propensity to look for, interpret, accept, and remember information in a way that validates and strengthens our existing beliefs while ignoring and dismissing anything that controverts them. Experts agree that not even the most logical minds, not even scientists, can escape confirmation bias completely. Common human irrationalities like hypochondria, prejudice, and paranoia are all forms of confirmation bias, where every little thing that happens can be interpreted as an illness, a reason to deride a whole demographic of people, or proof that something is out to get you. This phenomenon also explains why, to a willing listener, even the vaguest astrological horoscopes, psychic readings, and indistinctly relatable social media posts seem to resonate uniquely. Cultish, cultish leaders all rely on the power of confirmation bias by presenting a one-sided version of information that supports their ideology and that their followers actively want to hear after that. Confirmation bias does work for them. Enhanced by peer pressure, it becomes all the harder to resist. Confirmation bias also explains why cultish leaders' rhetoric is so vague. The loaded language, the euphemisms are made purposely amorphous to mask off-putting specifics about their ideology and to leave space for their ideology to change. Meanwhile, followers project whatever they want into the language. For instance, whenever Jones uses the phrase white knight, followers like Laura interpret it how they wish, neglecting the possibility of more violent implications. For most people, the fallout of confirmation bias isn't a Jonestown level urgent, but it's not the woefully naive or desperate among us who get that far. In many cases, it's the extraordinarily idealistic. Those are the kind of people they said that get caught in cults. Not really a feeble minded person who's able to be brainwashed. It's somebody who has an idea and then somebody else selling that idea to them and them saying, oh my God, we can make this idea a reality. Let's do it. Oh my God, somebody who wants to serve. That's another person who finds themselves in like a cult. We want to serve. We want to be idealistic. We want to help people. We have a idea of a society in mind or stuff like that, So that's just, so that book is kind of good. It's The Language of Fanaticism, Cultish by Amanda Montell. Yeah, and she talked about another tactic that people use to cut off like the conversation. It's called, hold on. It is called uh, what is it called? Not loaded language. Oh, thought terminating cliches. So when you stop, like, for instance, they're brainwashed, and it like stops everything. It stops the conversation, or it is what it is, or boys will be boys, or everything happens for a reason. It like cuts off all conversation. It's just, it's a stop sign. It says, um, it's effective because they alleviate cognitive dissonance, the uncomfortable discord one experiences when they hold two conflicting beliefs at the same time. Um, Everything happens for a reason. That's another one. It's like you don't, it doesn't make room for you to actually ask questions. It doesn't make room for you to like dig deeper. It is what it is. That stops it off, right? Boys will be boys. It stops it off. It's like there's no conversation on why why do we have this phrase, boys will be boys? What does that mean? Like, boys will be boys, and just cuts off. Okay, that just explains his behavior. No, it doesn't. I forgot I have a little bit of reefer. So we're just down here, girl. We don't really have anything to talk about. Always bring your crutch with you. So, I don't like to use, because I get a reefer with a high THC percentage. I don't like to roll fat joints, because I don't need a lot, right? And that's the reason why. But I'm gonna order another one, and I'm gonna get one that's smaller. The hole, the entryway, so then I won't have. Yes, I think this is appropriate now. See where it is now? I think it's appropriate. There's some there's some there's some reefer in here. Where did it go? I don't know where it went, child. But anyways, so I just wanted to read a little bit of that book to you. Um so you can get into it, but it's very interesting. To understand. I since I was little, I've always loved like stories about cults, cult leaders, and stuff like that. It's always fascinated me how people get into a cult, because I would be the main person to be like, this doesn't make sense. What? Girl, what did he say? I'd be the one they talked about, even getting language, so that when people go against, like having set language, so that when people don't adopt the language, that they're not someone that you can have follow you, because they're not adopting your language. It's crazy. It's a good book. It's a good book. It's very interesting if you just want to learn how how the language, how people use language. They're gonna get. She says in part 6, they're gonna get to social media. Um, they're gonna get to the social media part of the things. Hold on. Follow for follow, part 6. So that's here. Yeah. Black Lives Matter, COVID, MLM recruiters, everything. It says, I just want to read this part. It says, it's June 2020, one of the most contentious months in contemporary American history, and my Instagram algorithm is on the fritz. Amid posting about the global C-19 pandemic and Black Lives Matter, while keeping up with all the new age swamis, MLM recruiters, and conspiracy theorists I followed over the past year, my Explore page can't seem to tell whether I'm a social justice warrior, a pandemic truther, a anti-vaxxer, a witch, an Amway distributor, or just really obsessed with essential oils. All right, so now I'm hot. Let me see if I have let me crack the window. We have a woman. The Recreation and Parks cleanup crew is a woman. We love to see it. I wonder if that other man retired. So we don't have anything to talk about. This weekend I didn't really do much. We just did little sushi. Went out, had some sushi and some, milk tea, boba. Nothing else. Nothing that I know is going on. Girl, the first thing I see is Gizelle. with no rhythm. I'm sorry, she does not do it to me. Every time I see Gizelle, she literally reminds me of it does remind me. I'm triggered by like the word black, how some people are triggered by the word black and it can trigger them to have an emotional response. I'm triggered by her. I'm She to me just represents like the same representation that that Orange Julius and Kamala, that same representation where you have this overqualified person and this person who has none of the qualifications but is still able to compete somehow some way for no other reason than they exist. There's no other qualifications. That's how I feel when I see Gizelle Bryant. When I see her, it just reminds me of people get having privilege and not deserving it, and an undeserving privilege, and being able to just market off of that undeserving privilege. Like, what is it? You have been given something for nothing. For nothing. You have been given something for nothing. And so whenever I see Gizelle, whenever I see women like that, I just look at that like, and then for her to not be like, then for her to like, even as she stands there, she can't dance. I think she makes pastries. She can't cook. She can't dance. She can't dress. Her house looks a mess. There's no interior design, like nothing. There's no flavor at all. It's just this woman who has been given these things and been pushed up to the front for no other reason than how she looks. And she embodies that for me. So that's another reason why I can't watch Potomac, because I feel like it's a show that literally doesn't deserve to be under the Housewives umbrella. To me, it's just an example of like mediocrity being pushed to the front as if it's something great, and it's nothing great. And then other people being forced to watch something that this is not even great. And why am I watching this? Why am I supporting this? What am I watching this for? Why am I supporting this? These women are not wealthy. They're not the way that they acted when they first came, the first season. Oh, like Jack and Jill, I'm so snooty, debutante, cotillions, and all that shit. Ain't none of that shit happening. We haven't seen it. And this acting, oh, etiquette, miss etiquette, miss etiquette. But fast forward six seasons later, and you fucking clipping fucking oak trees in Virginia, Maryland, DC, wherever the hell you are, lady. And then you don't want to talk about it. And then you have the nerve to be snooty, and your nose is already looking down. You already looking down your nose at people. Bitch, who the fuck are you? I don't like it. They just represent that mediocrity being pushed to the front simply because how they look. And like, while I'm talking about being triggered by the word black, I'm really triggered by the effects of colorism. I am when I watch it, and because it's no different than the effects of racism. But to watch it and then watch people who benefit from it deny it, the same way white people who benefit from racism denies it. It's the same thing. And then for groups of people to act like it doesn't exist, but then when it's racist, they can spot it. But when it's colorist, they can't. I don't see color. I'm gonna stop at this red light, but I don't see color. I don't see color at all. So yeah, that's the first thing I saw is Gizelle with no rhythm, and all of that just seeing her do that little fake ass, raggedy ass, musty ass two step. It just reminded me of everything I just said. That image of her just reminded me of just mediocrity being pushed to the front for no other reason than pretty privilege or whatever, light skin, green eye, whatever the fuck. I'm not impressed. I like Gizelle, but is it me or can she not dance? She can't do anything. She can't do anything. She can't even be a first lady, right? Child, let me shut up. Okay, let me move on. Um, and then that too, like, you let that man embarrass you like that, and then you brought him on your platform. I would never. And you still have, and you still carrying his last name because you think you're you have to have the same last name as your children, man. Fuck that. No, thank you. So I don't know what's going on. We just down here, girl. It's been 30 minutes. Ain't talked about a damn thing. Let me start another video, actually. Since the light is up, now we can talk about something else for real. All right, y'all. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments. Peace.